Okay, let's talk about why I got fired for the first time ever. I do want to preface that there's no animosity. I really loved everyone that I worked with. Just talking about what happened. When I applied to the position, it was on Indeed for 4 days a week. I sat down and they're like, hey, just so you know, it changed to 3 days a week. They were very straightforward about it. And I was like, okay. After the interview, I chose to proceed. I called my husband. I was like, do you think it's fine? It's 3 days a week. He was like, go for it. It'll be fine. Unfortunately, something happened in my husband and I's lives, and I was like, oh, I actually really need 4 days a week. They said I would be at 4 days a week within 6 months. They just didn't know between the hiring process in December and 6 months when the 4 days a week would happen. We had bills to pay, and I was like, man, I actually really need 4 days a week. So I reached out to another office, and they were like, hey, we would love to have you a day a week. And I was like, okay, sweet. Well, I ended up messaging them a day before. I kind of got nervous. I was like, I don't know, it might be too hard juggling 2 offices. I don't know when they're gonna hire me. I don't want to work for you guys for 4 or 5 months and then they want me 4 days a week and I'd have to just quit on you guys. And they texted back and they were like, oh, we just had a position open, 38 hours a week doing hygiene, 4 days a week, 38 hours a week, 4 days. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's actually like perfect, right? So I agreed to interview with them. Backing up a little bit with the place that I applied to in December and got hired at, there was no talk of traveling at all during the hiring process or during like me doing modules and stuff during the new hire. Somebody had lightly mentioned to me like, oh, it'd be so cool if you could go to Chicago with us in February. And I was like, oh yeah, whatever, you know, cool. And then my manager came to me and was like, hey, can you talk to your husband and see if you could go to Chicago with us in February? My husband and I started a new job literally the same exact week. And I was like, hey, we just got a puppy. Can you take the days off? Stay with him because he can't be home for 12 hours and he would go potty everywhere, you know? And my husband was like, I'm sorry, those are really big sales days. I can't take the days off. And I was like, no worries. Going to Chicago isn't that big of a deal. I'm not going to go, whatever, you know? I tell them that I can't go. Then my hiring manager or the manager comes to me and she was like, hey, this is actually really important. We really encourage this. Can you please like, you know, figure something out? People are leaving their kids. And I was like, okay, totally. Asked my mom. My mom was like, yeah, I can totally watch JJ. And I was like, sweet, that's awesome. Thank you so much. Text my manager, I can go to Chicago. Fast forward, I have the interview with the other office, 30 hours a week, 38 hours a week guaranteed. And it was lovely. I loved the doctors. I loved everything. They wanted to do working interview 9 days from the day that we had met. And I was like, okay, sounds good. The following day, I go back into the office that I was hired at, and they're like, hey, do you want to get going with Chicago? And I was like, do you mind if we wait? I don't want you guys to pay for the plane tickets and the hotel if I'm not going to be here. I explained the whole situation to my manager, and she was like, that's cool. I'm so sorry. I'm going to have to make a part 2 so that I can finish this